Welcome to Secret Affairs. In today's video, I'm taking you into a story shaped by quiet shadows, unexpected light, and the strange ways life turns when we least expect it. A story that began not with chaos or noise, but with the soft pulse of an ordinary day and the single moment that changed everything. Margaret never saw the shift coming. Not in her 64 years of careful living, not in the calm routines she had spent a lifetime perfecting. Her world, for as long as she could remember, had settled into a rhythm so predictable it felt carved into the very walls of her small lakeside home. Mornings drifted in with pale sunlight stretching across her kitchen tiles. Evenings faded out with a steady whisper of water brushing the pebbled shore behind her house. It was a life of quiet habits, a life that no longer surprised her. 8 years had passed since her husband's death, and although grief had softened, it left behind something she rarely admitted aloud: a hollow space, a silent room inside her spirit. She filled it with gardening, reading, volunteering at the town library, anything that gave shape to her days without awakening the echoes of loneliness, romance, passion, excitement. She had convinced herself that those chapters belonged to someone else, to younger lives still brave enough to take risks, to hearts that didn't ache with old memories. Two people who hadn't already learned the complicated skill of guarding themselves. But life, quiet, unassuming, patient life, had other intentions waiting for her. It happened on a gray afternoon, the kind where clouds hang low enough to blur the edges of the world. Margaret was in the library arranging a new shipment of books, breathing in the familiar scent of ink and paper. The drizzle tapping against the windows made the air feel cool, almost nostalgic. She was lining up a row of crisp new fiction titles when she noticed him. A young man stood near the end of the aisle, hands tucked into his pockets, shoulders slightly tense as he scanned the shelves. He had that look like he was searching for something specific, something meaningful, something he wasn't even sure how to describe. He seemed out of place. Not unwelcome, just unexpected. His youthful energy contrasted sharply with the stillness around him. Yet there was something gentle about his posture, something hesitant in the way he moved, as though he were afraid to disturb the peace of the space. He held a small notebook in his hand, worn from use. When he finally stepped closer, his voice was soft but steady. "Excuse me? Looking for books on photography. Could you help me?" Margaret blinked, taken slightly off guard not by the question, but by the sincerity in his tone. She had helped countless visitors find books over the years, but this one? There was something different. Something in the way he watched her carefully, respectfully, as if he wanted to make sure he wasn't intruding. "Of course," she replied, guiding him through the narrow aisles. As they walked, she pointed out authors and genres, speaking with the calm confidence that came naturally to her. The young man listened with surprising attentiveness, occasionally jotting notes in his worn notebook. His name, she learned, was Elias, 27 years old, soft-spoken, curious, thoughtful. He moved with a quiet presence that was rare for someone his age. There was no rush in him, no sense of distraction. Every answer she gave seemed to matter to him. And more surprising, he asked about her favorite novels, her favorite places in town, her recommendations, her thoughts, her opinions. It wasn't flirtation, it wasn't boldness, it was something simpler, genuine interest. Margaret answered carefully, unsure why she felt suddenly aware of herself, as if a part of her that had been asleep for years was stretching, waking up. When Elias thanked her, his smile didn't fade quickly like most smiles did. It lingered. Warm, sincere, almost gentle. After he left, she found herself staring at the now empty aisle, longer than she meant to. She shook the feeling away. Just a pleasant encounter, nothing more. A small shift in an ordinary day. But the universe wasn't finished. The next afternoon she saw him again. He appeared at the library door just as she was setting up a new display near the entrance. When he spotted her, he gave a shy wave. Not presumptuous, just hopeful. Her heart tightened, caught off guard by her own reaction. He approached her with a soft, familiar smile. "Good afternoon, Margaret." He remembered her name. The thought shouldn't have mattered. Not at her age, not with her experience. But it did. This time his questions weren't just about photography. He asked about favorite sections, authors she admired, the art pieces she curated for the library displays. Little details few people ever noticed. As he listened, he didn't interrupt. He didn't rush. Didn't drift away the moment someone else walked in. He stayed. Margaret found herself talking more freely than expected, sharing little memories, small pieces of her life she usually kept tucked away. Something about his presence made her feel lighter. The next day, he returned again. And again, the day after that. It became a quiet routine neither of them acknowledged aloud. Some days, he brought a question. Other days, a book he wanted her opinion on. Sometimes he simply wandered through the aisles until she noticed him. And with every visit, she learned something new about him, about herself. She learned the way his brow furrowed when he concentrated, the way he paused for a breath before asking certain questions, the way his laughter came easily when she made dry, quiet jokes. He wasn't just polite, he was present, and she felt something shifting. She reminded herself of their age difference. She reminded herself of the world's judgments. She reminded herself that nothing should come of this. But reminders don't quiet a heart that has suddenly remembered how to feel. One rainy evening, Elias invited her on a short walk behind the library along the lake path. She almost said no, almost retreated behind the safety she had built around herself. But something inside her whispered go, so she went. The rain was soft, barely more than mist, coating the leaves and setting the world aglow with reflections. The lake shimmered under the silver sky, rippling with the wind. Halfway down the path, Elias stopped. "Margaret." His voice was quieter now, wrapped in the weight of something unsaid. "I really enjoy spending time with you." "I hope that's okay." Her breath caught. Of all the things she had prepared herself to hear, this was not one of them. She should have responded with boundaries, logic, caution, things she excelled at. But the softness in his eyes? It disarmed her. She lowered her gaze, unable to hide the warmth flushing through her. "I enjoy it too," she whispered. A simple sentence, yet it felt like a leap. Elias smiled, not broadly, but with a gentle knowing. As if he had heard more in her voice than words alone, they walked back in silence. Not awkward silence, quiet, comfortable, meaningful. When they reached the library steps, Elias hesitated, rain droplets sliding down his hair. "I'll see you tomorrow," he asked, voice filled with hopeful uncertainty. Margaret nodded. Her heart, however, was not certain at all. That night she sat beside her bedroom window, the lake glowing under moonlight. She tried to read, to distract herself, to retreat into her old safe routines. But her mind kept circling back to him, to his questions, his voice, his gentle presence. For the first time in many years, her quiet life felt disrupted in the most delicate, unsettling, exhilarating way. By the time she went to bed, she knew one undeniable truth. Something inside her had awakened. Not a reckless feeling, not a wild feeling, but a small spark, the spark of possibility. She didn't know where this path would lead. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring. She didn't know if she was opening herself to joy or heartbreak. But she knew this. Life was not done surprising her. Not by a long shot. And this story, the one she never expected to live, was only just beginning.